All right, traders. So it's Thursday time for Open Mic. That is the show where I sit here for the next hour or so and just ramble on, hoping that somebody joins me. So today we're going to go down to books that I grabbed yesterday. I don't know how I did it. I ended up walking out of one of the LCSs without one of my bags, which means I left a huge majority of my haul in the comic shop. I've reached out to Greg. Greg pops on. I'll be like, "Hey, what's going on?" But I was able to get, of course, DC. We grab our DC books the day before on Tuesdays, so I was able to get those. Not a lot for DC this week. Of course, we got Batman 108 came out. That's the first Miracle Molly. I haven't had a chance to read this one yet. I've really been enjoying Tynion's run on Batman. I think he does a fantastic job. I actually got into a conversation with Greg about his writing. And of course, we're all familiar with Department of Truth and the indie stuff that he's doing. I think Batman is a character that Tynion shines on because of that detective, that kind of pseudo-noirish type of writing that's involved with the character. So really been enjoying his run on Batman. The B cover is really nice as well. Love the colors on that. I think this is going to be kind of a breakout hit character. I could see them doing some stuff with the character, and of course Punchline. I really do like Punchline. So there is a 1 in 25 Federici sketch variant that is actually a pretty nice one. I'm not big on the sketch variants, but there is one available for that book as well. So I grabbed those. Of course, issue number 2 of 0 Point came out. A lot of hassles around this book because the shops didn't seem to get all of their allocation on it, and there were some issues around FOC as well. They hit FOC a little bit early, and people weren't able to get full orders in. I was able to snag a copy. I was able to get one copy, so I've got quite a few of number 1. But I grabbed this one so I can sell them as a set to or give them away even to some kid that wants these skins and get that armored Batman for the game. The story itself is what you would expect from a video game crossover, which is to say complete trash. So, of course, the ROM Swamp Thing, fantastic run on this. I really liked what they did in the Future State. I love the artwork for Swamp Thing. And I'm a big Swamp Thing guy as well. So really like that one. So I'm pretty excited to read that. So yesterday, of course, was new comic book day for the indies and for the Marvel stuff. So I'm going to hop over here real quick. And I used Midtown to look at current books. I don't know why. That's just what I've always used. Because they're, of course, large enough that they're somewhat comprehensive. But a couple of my pickups were, of course, I passed on all this Carnage stuff. I did grab the Heroes Reborn books, mostly for this one. Probably the best Wonder Woman cover I've seen in a long time. Yes, I know that's not Wonder Woman, but really dig that. The little trading cards that they gave out with those books, that was a cool idea. So, of course, I had to grab some of those because I'm a sucker for some trading cards. A lot of covers on that Heroes Reborn. It's just kind of insane. The other big one War of the Bounty Hunters. So we're going to kind of check that out and give that one a run. Of course, I left my bag up at Black Cat yesterday, so I wasn't able to show the actual books, but I picked up a couple different covers for this one. I did not get the black. So apparently this was a hidden seat, one of their secret variants with Boba Fett in the black armor. I mean, Midtown's listed at 45, so I'm sure our FMV on this one is right around probably 25 to 30 bucks. I'm not sure what the difference is between the Alpha #1 one shot and the director's cut. So if anybody has a thought on that, but I grabbed those. And then I looked at the Thanos Quest, but I didn't pull the trigger on that one. My personal collecting has really cut back. So, I have a few holds that I do for people that don't have a local comic shop and make sure that they get their books. And I pick those up for them. And then my personal collection, I'm not buying a lot of current books right now. And I do that on purpose. I just can't continue to spend money when I'm not really moving them. So I'll pick up what I read personally, and that's about it. So I grabbed those. I'm sure there were some indies in there that I'm not thinking of. I don't want to scroll through all the indies, and that's 80 books, so that's quite a few. And I say I don't want to do it as I'm doing it. I know. Van Helsing's Steampunk one shot. Had to grab that one. Really like what Zenoscope's doing over there lately. They've got some great stories to go along with the spectacular art that they're doing. Last Witch #5. I had to grab that one just to read it. I got it. Oh, this is another one I picked up. I thought looked kind of interesting. Marjorie Finnegan, Temporal Criminal. Of course, it's a Garth Ennis book, so you can't go wrong with Garth Ennis. The artwork seems to be pretty interesting. The premise, I don't know a whole lot about it, but temporal anomalies and heists throughout time. It sounds cool. So I grabbed. I think this is actually the cover I got because I dig anything with a dinosaur on the cover. Punchline and the Vaudevillians. All right. I didn't even see that one. Oh, got it. And I did grab Masquerade. That's a book that I'm on for sure. I do see We Live #5 is at a second printing. I did not grab any, but I'm sure that's going to be a 20 book in very short order. I passed on White Widow. So yeah, not a whole lot going on the past few weeks. I mean, you read what you read, and I've been picking up the PC books to keep up to date on stuff. But so Marvis just chimed in. We Live #1 is hitting some real nice strides at the moment, and that #5 issue. And it's funny. I was at the LCS with a good buddy of mine, and he was digging through the long boxes, and he grabbed out the 2 issues of #5 that they had, and this was about 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, #5 of an indie title, even if it's an option, probably not going to be a hot item, right? And he's like, nope, I want them all. And then he asked if they had any in the back, and they pulled out a stack of 25, bought all 25 of them. I've actually I pressed them all for him too because he's sending them off to CGC. I did not know at the time, but I slept on it, and I'm the one coming out looking like a doof at this point. So new comic book day. That's kind of what I grabbed. Like I said, I left them all sitting on top of the long boxes up at Greg's shop. So hopefully somebody handed them to him. And then of course I swung by the Nerd Store. They are our local Bad Idea company, and so I had to stop in and get my Bad Idea book and say hi to the guys there. Of course, ENIAC is on issue number 3. Hello, Victoria. How's it going? ENIAC has been a great read. I like that kind of James Bondish type feel that they have to it. Modern era spy thrillers with some espionage and all that thrown in, and just a couple top-notch heroines going around just whooping ass, right? So that one's really cool. And this one came out of the blue. I don't know much about it. It's Wellsville X, Rocks and Minerals. I have no idea what it's about. The cover looks intriguing. It is a Bad Idea book, so I grabbed it. I'm getting all of the Bad Idea stuff, and they're taking really good care of me, making sure that I get them at cover price on release day, the whole 9 yards. So super cool book. At least the cover looks super cool. And that brings me to, I can't remember the name of the title. I'm not up on Bad Idea titles. I enjoy the books. Tankers was, as much as I like ENIAC, Tankers was really phenomenal. Hey, Big Herm, what's up, buddy? But they're releasing a new title next week, and it's only available on Wednesday. So you have to go into your new comic book shop, or you have to go into your LCS on Wednesday to get the book. I don't know how that's going to work. So we'll see. I know that this particular one, Kenny, and you guys have seen Kenny on the channel before, but Kenny, my guy up at the Nerd Store, was telling me that they're not going to a second print on this one either. So that's a pretty interesting concept. So that's what I grabbed at the Nerd Store from the Bad Idea guys. How's it going, TM? Good to see you can make it today. TM saying hi to the chat. Let's see. Also, when I was up, and this is why I forgot. So I bought my books, my current books. Oh, Star Wars Adventures, Star Wars High Republic Adventures. That was the other book I got. So this is why I forgot. I bought those books and I set them down, and I was talking to one of my buddies up there, and we were kind of going back and forth. He's got an opportunity to buy the first 6 big Carnage keys in a CGC 9.8 for $3,000. And so we're going over the pros and cons with him on that. So we got in this conversation, then Greg brought these out and just completely blew my train of thought. And that's why I left the majority of my comic haul sitting on the long boxes of Black Cat Comics. But he found these when he was digging through some old magazines and stuff. So got some Conan Saga. These are some old black and white, late 70s, early 80s Conan the Barbarian, published by Marvel magazines. So I was able to grab those for the personal collection. Of course, always big on Conan. And then picked up a couple on Tuesday. Tuesday was May the 4th. So I was able to grab myself a couple Star Wars action figures. I got the Darth and Luke Skywalker. This is the Bespin Cloud City set. I'm going to pop these open and set them up at a diorama on the shelf. maybe get myself a nice background made out of Legos for them. So that is super cool. I grabbed those, $5 a piece. Can't go wrong. And they give them to me $5 a piece, and then they knock off a discount. Got a couple cool books. We're gonna move on. Oh, and then I got this in. So this is going to take, I'm sure, a couple weeks. We're going to be building the Millennium Falcon. So I'm pretty excited for that one. So we'll be showing that off. For comic impressions, a couple books that I picked up that are going to the press. So a lot of people think this is an embossed cover, and I wanted to show this because a lot of people think that you cannot press these. And typically that'd be right. If you were to put these under pressure with heat in a typical press situation, it would take that embossing out and damage the book. But there is a way to stack them that you won't lose any of the embossing. And a good presser can do that for you. So just so you know, that is an option. And these are books that Kenny's going to be sending off to CGC. A couple nice ones there. All right. And if anybody wants to jump in and kind of show off your haul, just say so and we can get that taken care of. All right. And these are from a customer, and he keeps, this is the second or third time I pressed for this gentleman, and he's got the coolest box that he sends the books in. And one of these days, I'm just going to forget to give it back to him because he's put all kinds of concert or band stickers. You got the Misfits. I see Gorillaz on there. Depeche Mode, 9 Inch Nails. Super cool. But what we're pressing for him, these are headed off to CGC. We've got the first Gambit, X-Men 266. That one's a real cool book. Damn, got a big boy here. This book is going insane. Insane. So this is, of course, Secret Wars number 8, first issue with the symbiote, and highly sought after book. And then we got a super nice low print run. It's 179. Spawn number 179. Of course, that second century Spawn, anything from, we've discussed this before, anything from 125 up to 200. It's just been just nuts. So real hard to find low print runs. And then this guy, I cannot believe the movement on this book in the past couple of weeks. It has been just crazy. So, of course, it's the classic McFarlane Batman. I'm searching for this one for the personal collection as well. Super, super hard to get a hold of. Hello, Jen. How are we doing this afternoon? But yeah, it's just one that I've probably pressed 3 of these. I did one for Bullseye Bob, and then one for one of the local shops, and then this one. I haven't seen it, and it's really hard to find, really hard to get your hands on. At least it has been. It's been very elusive for me. So one that I'm trying to get a hold of. And then I really feel bad. This one's got a couple micro ticks on it. He was really hoping that he could get this slabbed and it would pay for the CGC fees on the other books when he sold it. I personally think, it's weird to me that people would even slab a facsimile. And the thing about faxes this is a book that they put out to reprint, of course, the first appearance of Spider-Man. And Marvel has even said it's something that they're going to rotate. So this book's coming back. It doesn't make a lot of sense to spend the kind of money on it that we're seeing. That is not a $75 book by any stretch of the imagination. And I have seen 9.8 of that sell as high as $200. And that's just a frenzy thing that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think that that's just an insane price for a facsimile. Let's see, I'm going to if I can find it now. So Amazing Fantasy 15, of course, that's a big boy, $14,000 in a raw comic book, with 3.0s averaging at 27 grand. All right, so let's look at the facts. So it was published in 2019, and I have a few of them. Average raw sell for a $4 book, $18.40, which is just wild to me. Your average 9.8 sell is $70. So somebody bought it for $5, invested, let's say $30 into it, 35. And so doubling your money, $70. I thought they're going to show a high sell here. Like it was like $129 in a 9.8, the high sell. Just insane. So I don't think that I would put that much value on that book. Obviously, some people do. Value is in where you see it. So to me, it's a $5 book. I did want to show off a couple things. As you may or may not know, I'm in the process of redoing my website and adding basically all the books that are $10 or more. What I would sell for $10 or more. If I sell a book for $10, that means fair market value is anywhere from 12 to sometimes $20, depending on the book and my supply of them. But these are some indie books that I was sorting through that just kind of took me off guard. I haven't had a chance to read this number one yet, but Nottingham is really going insane right now. I'm not sure what it is about the book. It's one that I'm interested in reading, but that issue number one is so expensive. Like if we were to look at issue number one, I can't afford to read it. Like if I have it, I can't afford to read it. It's $75 book. Just crazy. Like second print is a $20 book. Like who can afford to just buy a $20 book to read? That's crazy. I mean, I would hope that it's a cool story. And it's what, a month old? And then $50 on number two. So it's just kind of nuts for me. And number two is only a week, 2 weeks old. So that one shocked me. I was really surprised to see that. Another one that is a good read, Lenore issue number one. So this is a kind of an indie darling that came out of nowhere. I picked up an option, I believe Netflix. Netflix picked up the option for it. It was all over Key Collector, of course. But this one has been showing some pretty decent upswing. So Lenore number one, $75 average for a raw comic with an upward tick of 1.5% over the last 30 days. 9.8's hitting $200 on an average. So that's pretty respectable. And that was, of course, based on news of an auction. I want to say that Tim Burton's name was even attached to it at one point. So really interesting to see where we're going to go with that one. I'm glad. It's a great story, a great concept. Grabbed the trade paperback, a lot of fun. And then this one. So, as some of you know, what I do is I not only clean and press, but I sell comics. And my business concept is and will be kind of a mobile comic book shop where I'm going to go into communities that don't have comic book stores and set up and sell. And now that our restrictions in Utah have been lifted, we're a lot more free to do that type of thing. So that is slowly proceeding where I can do that. I got called to a city that's about a little over an hour away from me to look at this collection, and there were eight long boxes, and like, of course, somebody calls you to go to a collection, they tell you, I got 8 long boxes. I got them out of the storage unit, and all of them are antiques. Like, they're from all the way back in the 90s, and you're like, oh man. But I happened to be going that way anyway for a charity thing that we were doing. So I went out there and met up with this young lady, and she took me into her hair salon that's inside of her home. And we're going through these books, and I'm like, oh, you got some good books here. And like, she had a couple minor keys, those $5 to $10 books. A couple of those, she had like an entire long box, and this was about a year ago. She had an entire long box. There was nothing but Aliens, Earth War, Predator, Cold War, that 90s Aliens and Predators, Dark Horse stuff. So at that point, those were quarter books. And I know they're not quarter books today, but at that point, they were definitely quarter books. And so she said, well, everybody loves anything. I'm like, oh. And I showed her why they were quarter books. And in Utah, where, in Salt Lake, I've got 8 comic shops, a quarter book is a quarter book. And there's a lot of them. Every store in town has a bin that sells books for a quarter. Because we have so many shops that those type of books are so prevalent that you can't get any more for them. Well, I ended up offering her, I think, $80. It was like $10 a box for these long boxes. And a lot of that was, I know that you can sell them yourself, but for more, to me, they're filler, and I've still got a bulk of them around. There's just nothing you can do with 4 complete runs of Teen Titans from the 80s. So she passed, and I'm like, I understand completely. If you need help selling them, let me know. I might be able to get you pointed in the right direction, whatever. So we went to Walmart, because I was checking for comics there, and she called me, and she's like, you know what, just come and get them. So I go over to her house. I'm like, all right, $80. She's like, no, I'm going to give them to you because you donate, you give back to the schools and that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I definitely appreciate that. So, and I was lucky enough that I found these 2 monsters in there. Everything else was literally a quarter book. I think I ended up selling complete sets of those Alien Predators, like the 4-issue miniseries, for $2 a piece, just to get rid of them. But I cannot believe this book. So, of course, it's the first appearance of Link in comics by Valiant. And this book, I mean, when I first looked at it, it was like at a $75 average. or $75 high with like a $35 average. This one right now is sitting at a $284 high with about $180 average on this book. Just insane. And these are two very nice copies. I was going to just give one of these to my 4-year-old grandson to play around with because he plays Zelda. I can't afford to do that, obviously. So just a couple real fun, cool books that I found. But yeah, that's what I got this week. I did want to take a moment. Hey, Caps, how's it going today? We got Caps on Comics joining us. So I am kicking around some ideas for some more content, and we'll have that information coming up soon. Something that's going to be a lot of fun for the community. But I do want to kind of start working towards helping newer collectors. And there's a really good channel out right now, Nick's Comic Culture. He does a fantastic job in talking about comics and kind of a 101 type class on the anatomy of a comic shop, what he does, and that type of stuff. So I'm going to be kind of working with him on something that we're kicking around an idea, and hopefully we'll be able to roll that out soon-ish. But yeah, that's some exciting stuff that's coming up. Working, of course, with the Hive Comic guys. And I'm going to hit that up real quick. I'm not sure if they have it. So hive-comics.com is Hive Comics website, and they do releases on Saturdays, 2:00 Mountain Time. And they are, let's see if I can find it. So 2:00 this Saturday, they are going to be releasing their version of the Something is Killing the Children. I believe this is issue 16. And their Department of Truth, I believe this is issue number 9. So it might be 10. But these are going on pre-sale. A couple fantastic covers from the guys over at Hive. They're always just knocking it out of the park, giving us high quality covers with low print runs on great books. I've been noticing that their books hold value extremely well. Their Proctor Valley Road, their Gallagher Proctor Valley Road is a book that has held real well in value. So very cool stuff. Marvis just asked they'd like to see the pressing process in action. I actually have thought long and hard about this. I've watched a lot of tutorial videos on YouTube about cleaning and pressing. I probably have watched every single tutorial video out there, and a lot of them do things well, and they do it right. But there's a lot of bad information out there. Things from using wax paper on your press, cleaning with peroxide on your books and alcohol, things like this that will damage your book, that'll get you a purple label, improper techniques for stacks, improper spine tick removal, that type of stuff. So for me, I made the conscious decision not to do videos on cleaning and pressing. I am happy to do one-on-one. There's some pressers out there and some private collectors out there that want to improve their game and kind of step up and get into that. And I'm happy to help them out. And we do that one-on-one privately, but it's not something that I'm going to publish videos on, because I don't want people taking my information and using it improperly and harming books. The reason I press and clean books is I want those books to be as high quality as possible. I want to preserve them. I want them to be around for our children, that type of thing. I do it for our shared history, and I don't want to potentially put something out there that's going to damage the books. So I've had people tell me that to me gatekeeping. It really isn't. I don't own any of the processes I use. I'm happy to share my processes with anybody that wants to learn, but it is going to be a private thing. I will touch on certain issues with certain books. Like we all know the Canto fold. Canto number 1 has 3 huge folds in the side on the spine, and they're notoriously hard to get out. I have been able to successfully do that. I've shared that with other pressers, like professional pressers, and they are using that technique so that we collectively, as a pressing community, can make these books as good as possible. It also is a book that's notoriously hard to get the temperature right on. So a lot of people overpress that book and strip color from it and make the pages brittle and do stuff like that. So for that reason, that's why you will never see me doing tutorial videos on how to press and clean. If you want to press and clean, if you want to do it yourself, shoot me a message. I'm more than happy to give you a list of the proper tools and equipment and techniques, and go one-on-one with you through Zoom or StreamYard and help you up your game. There are really 2 schools of thought. Real quick, hey Fable, how's it going, buddy? I'm about to reach out to you because I need some music. We're going to redo my intro. So just a heads up, I'll be reaching out in the next couple of days. What was I chatting about? Pressing, cleaning. So really, and it's a slippery slope, because a lot of people are like, oh, you don't want to give out your techniques because you don't want competition. That's not a thing for me. I live in Salt Lake City, Utah. I do this out of my home. I've got a lot of presses. I've invested heavily into the business. I carry insurance. I do everything the right way. But because I'm established, all of the comic shops in our area, I've got Black Cat Comics. I'm the only one that presses for them. I've got the Nerd Store and Dr. Volts. They're both owned by the same people. They do a lot of exclusives, and they have a fairly good sized online presence. And they're really doing good things over there, and they're moving and shaking. I'm their exclusive presser. Hive Comics, they won't let anybody else touch their books. So I could live comfortably off of the business I get from them. I don't need to gatekeep the information. It's about the books. I help other pressing services that are much larger than me. They help me, but it really is about the books and taking care of that shared history. So long drawn out answer, but that's really at the crux of it why you'll never see me do a tutorial video on cleaning and pressing comic books. So, but if you have, and I'm also of the mindset. So, I, because of my non-existent overhead and those type of things, the money I make off of pressing, I'm at this point in my life, thanks to people like Bullseye Bob and Bueller and the guys over at Hive Comics and our LCSs, because of these people, they allowed me the freedom to make more money than I ever have in my entire life. My wife still makes more than I do. We could live comfortably off her salary. This is just, I don't do this necessarily for the money. And the reason I say that is because if you ever have a question on a book, whether it can be pressed or should be pressed or my process, reach out to me. I want to help. I want to share that knowledge, my 40 plus years of comic book collecting knowledge, with the community. I've had conversations with Travis TM Nerdy about, these books and what we should get pressed and what, maybe we shouldn't, and how he can get a return on investment. I think he's got a great mind for it, and we're hoping to kind of help him get to the next level with his collecting as well. So if you have any questions about any specific book and want to know my insights and techniques, please reach out. I'm happy to help, happy to have those conversations. So again, me just rambling for a couple hours. I don't know if anybody else grabbed these. Well, I feel like an idiot now because the book that I thought, or the bag that I thought that I was missing, apparently I got some of the books sitting right here. Anyway, so Marvel gave out these super cool trading cards. I don't know if anybody else got a hold of those. You got Thor, Hyperion, Nighthawk. There's a Captain America, the villain. So cool stuff. Yeah, found them. Of course, Red Sonja. We've announced that we got a movie coming on the way for Red Sonja. Star Wars Bounty Hunters, Star Wars High Republic. Greg hooked me up. Got me a ratio variant on Kanto, the new Kanto series #1. You don't have any of the packs of trading cards that came. I just dropped it on the floor and now I can't find them. I'm running over it with my chair. Like, my workshop is a mess at the moment. Yeah, they came in a cellophane pack. But those are, and they were a giveaway this week with because of the Heroes Reborn. And here's a reminder, Harold's Journey. You can get the exclusive Rogue Trader Black Hat Comics exclusive. Those will be thrown up on my website shortly here. Got a couple other really cool things in the works as far as exclusive variants, that type of thing going on. So you'll be hearing more of that in the future. And I don't know if anybody else's LCS does this, but this is a little sticker that Greg had made for Black Hat Comics. If anybody else's LCS has this type of thing, let me know. I would love to do an exchange where we can kind of help support each other's LCS. Just Like he sells these for $1 a piece, and so that's a pretty neat little thing that he's got going on over there. Trying to think if there's anything else. I'm looking around to see if there's anything else I can talk about. I wanted to try to keep these live streams on Thursdays going for about an hour. Just so we can build that up. And I want to get to the point where I've got other people joining me, sharing their goodies and what they've got. I know that's hard for people like Travis, who goes live 8 times a day. I did also pick up some more Flash Gordon trading cards. They sent me some more because mine were damaged. Really cool cat to work with. It's unfortunate because I don't collect sports cards, and that's all he has. But he's got the Flash Gordon, and then he's got Burt Reynolds from Semi-Tough trading card. I think I'll snag that one from him just for no other reason to give him more business, because he was so cool about taking care of the damaged cards when they came in. You know what? I am pretty much tapped out at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And if you want to, if you have a subject that you want to talk about on a Thursday open mic, shoot me a message. RogueTraderUtah@gmail.com is my email. RogueTraderUtah.com is my webpage. You can get to my email from the webpage as well. I'm on Facebook at the Rogue Trader Utah. Instagram, the Rogue Trader. Reach out, and if you're like, I want to come on next week and discuss whatever, the comic market, comic characters, a particular artist. I am one of those guys. I'm actually a huge Kirby fan, and I'm a huge Stan Lee fan, and I can reconcile the two. Kind of an unpopular take. It seems to be you're either one or the other. I happen to see the contributions that both of them have made, and I love them both. Probably a little more on the Kirby side, to be honest with you. And that's not to take anything away from Ditko. So, if you want to discuss eras or hot books or whatever, shoot me a message and we can have you on the open mic and we'll discuss whatever you'd like. That's very true, Herm. There's enough to go around. I mean, there's honestly Kirby's talent and vision. He wasn't the best artist ever. He had a very unique style, and I love his style. To the point that I will buy every single Kirby, Marvel, DC, Indie, whatever. And like my Kirby collection is massive. But his vision, not of what exists, but of what can be, was unparalleled. To say that there would be no comics without Stan Lee, I think is accurate. I think comics would have completely died in the 60s had not Stan Lee saved that industry. But I don't think that Stan Lee could have saved that industry without Kirby. He could not have saved the industry without Ditko. So, as important as Stan Lee was to bringing comics to life in the 60s and 70s, he could not have done it without the vision of those around him. And I will die on that hill. There's just so much that all of them contributed to the world, and not just comics, but pop culture in general and in the zeitgeist. I don't think that we would have the um, the civil revolution of the 60s. You know, we would not have, like, you wouldn't have the the what am I trying to say? I don't think you would have the social revolution of overcoming the institutionalized racism and sexism and that type of stuff that we had in the 70s without seeing it on page in an X-Men comic book. So I think that their contribution to the youth of that era is what gave us a much stronger society in the following years. But that's just kind of my pseudo political take on comic books and what they've given to the world. So just some random thoughts, and those are conversations that are hard to have, but I am more than happy to explore everybody's views and opinions on those type of things, as well as just talk about how fun it is to see the Punisher back on the page shooting up a bar or whatever. So anywho, I think we're going to call it on that. It was nice hanging out and just rambling for 51 minutes. Like I said, if anybody wants to join me in the future, just drop me a line and we'll have a conversation. Till next time, traders.